Grand Rising, everybody. I'm trying to use that and say instead of saying good morning. And you know why? Sometimes people get hit with that. What should really be an unspoken rule that a certain thing comes in threes. I don't, I don't want to speak that into existence. So people never really get when that happens. Young people, you may not have an opportunity to mourn correctly. And you may find that this three thing happens pretty quickly. Okay, it doesn't happen over time. Whenever it hits, it's this person, that person, and I'm this person. Kind of like what happened in 2025 with all these actors and stuff. How quickly so many of them died this year. Sheesh. But I digress. Um, I've been thinking about the immigrants and stuff, particularly the ones from like Mexico, uh, places that are actually part of the United States or which actually are part of America. Okay? Um, we don't teach you young people that these people are, they have a status. Okay? And their status, we just call them immigrants, but their status is they are sovereigns from Mexico. They are sovereigns from South America. They are sovereigns from Canada. If you look at the map, they are all America. Okay? So I can't really understand why they are called immigrants because they are actually Americans. Okay? So, anyway, what the conspiracies of the theorists decided that they would do is okay. Okay. Oh, hold on. I had to turn on my heater, the one that oscillates. This is getting a little bit chilly over here. I try not to put my heat on full blast because of that gas bill. Holy moly. I had it paid all the way down to zero. And with this inclement weather, it's starting to go back up again. I hate the gas bill because it's kind of like having an ailment that you really can't feel. And you don't know you have it until something happens, like liver disease, kidney disease, or something, high blood pressure, or a stroke. Well, by the time you get these things, the damage is kind of, you know, for the just for the sake of this example, the damage that it's done to these organs without you feeling it or knowing it is kind of like stage three. Okay, so the body is made. Young people, your body is made to repair itself, but you have to give it the stuff that it needs to repair itself. If it gets to the point where it's bad, um, you can still repair it, but you don't want to have unrepairable damage. So, know ye that your body is the vessel of the Lord, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made, young people. But once you have accepted what was done for you on the cross or on the tree and get baptized before men, You actually become divine. You become a new creature. You're not, you are no longer what your memories are, what your past say you are. All right. Once you do that, you become a new thing. Okay. A new creature. It's wonderful if I can get you to understand it. Our main problem with accepting this new life is the shame we have to overcome of the things that we've done. But be of good cheer. He remembers your sins no more. Once you do that, they call it the sinner's prayer or something. But there's a little more to it, okay? Hey, Mr. D. Michael. Yes, he does. He knows our private prayers in our heart. So, since we don't know how to pray like we ought, the Holy Spirit intercedes for us and cleans up that prayer a little bit. Okay? There are so many more things to learn. I wouldn't want anyone to do like I did and stop at, oh, God knows my prayers, God knows my heart. Sometimes that could lead us to thinking, well, I'm a good person and this should help me get into heaven or something. Because it actually doesn't. But you'll learn. It's a wonderful experience. If I could just get ahead of you, young people, and get you on the narrow road. It's wonderful here on the narrow road. I'd rather be on the narrow road than that. Uh, Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death road. Woo! So anyway, I digress. I think I have a sense of humor. Okay, then why am I praying for others, people's sins? So, uh, hold on, I have to take off these orange things. I look at the computer so much, I got to put them orange things on so my eyes can heal. Okay. Then why am I praying for other people's sins? If you pray for other people's sins, it's you being compelled by a higher power to pray for other people's sins. When you pray for other people's sins, you are an instrument in the healing ministry. That's what people do who are in the healing ministry. So be of good cheer. If that's what you do, let's just give it a name and let's call you a healer. Okay? Thanks, sir. Perfect. Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Michael D. Welcome inside my brain. Okay, so I digress. Let me get back to the reason why I got on here. And I feel so bad about what's happening to the immigrants because they're not actually immigrants. They're Americans. If you look on a map, all these places are America. But what the conspiracy theorists decided to do was give them a name. You know what kills me? A full stop on that. I'm going down the rabbit trail on that. You know what really kills me? Now, they're blowing up these boats, right? I don't know if it's a false flag or anything like that. And when I say false flag, uh, people actually die in those. So I'm not trying to be flippant with it and say it's a false flag. But here's what really kills me. Somebody said this. I want to give credit to somebody on Facebook or something somewhere. Um, so they got these boats. And in the old days, young people, I don't know if you know this, but they used to be called go fast boats. They got like four engines on it, and them jokers, if you're on the water or something, they just zip right past you. If you're not looking, if you're looking to the west and one of them things are coming past you on the east or behind you or something, you're not going to see that joker. So, but by the time your radar comes back around doing a sweep or something, okay? Now, here's the thing about those. They're blowing them up, right? Oh, they're bringing in drugs. Well, um, where they're blowing these boats up at, they never would have made it to the United States. The distance between where those boats blew up, they don't have enough gas on them things to make it to the United States. So they can't um, say that we're blowing them up to keep drugs from them boats, those particular boats, from bringing drugs into the United States. Now, to be fair, I can understand that they may be out there out there taking those go fast boats and they're going to unload them on some bigger vessel somewhere else out there. So I could kind of get, bombing them because of that. But I don't want you to be confused that they're blowing these boats up because because these boats are coming into the United States. They're probably not. There's not enough gas on them for them in their tanks for them to make it to the United States. So if it's a spade, call it a spade. Hey, we're blowing these up because we're seeing that they're going to a bigger ship somewhere that will make it to the United States, and they're going to offload these drugs that they have onto that vessel. Now, that is the vessel that you should be blowing up. Okay? Um, they have this video going around now about what was that movie? I think it was called Captain Something. And what had happened was Nigerians or something like that there. I digress. I'm not throwing no shade. Okay. 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 So I'm not throwing any shade on anyone. I think it was, I don't know, I think it was Captain Smith or something, but the captain was uh, this boat that he had all this cargo and stuff on it. If you ever see a cargo ship and how they're loaded with canisters and stuff like that, I wish I could think of that guy's name and the name of the movie. But if you ever seen it, uh, the way they get onto these tankers is they use these go fast boats and they come alongside of it and board the ship. Yeah, I don't know if you young people are aware of this, but that's what pirates used to do in the old days. Okay, I digress. So now instead of using cannons to blow up the pirates, now when these go fast boats get close to the ship, they have these hoses that come out of the sides of the ship, and if they get close enough, these hoses will, in theory, capsize their boat, so they can't uh, commandeer the tanker. But in this particular movie, they commandeered the vessel. And one of the things I like, it was a classic thing that the Go Fast boat captain did was when he commandeered the control room, he said, I am now the captain, saying that to the captain. But, the captain realized that these hoses weren't going to stop these go fast boats. So he ordered everybody into uh, what we used to call general quarters. If you ever hear general quarters, if you're on one of those kind of boats, a Navy vessel or something, what that means is everybody goes to a specific place and hide or lock down. So you can lock yourself in, you can lock them out from the inside of that room. That's called general quarters. They don't want anybody running around on the boat who's not, going to man the bazookas and guns and stuff like that. They don't want the cooks and stuff running around. Okay, they don't want the Marines running around with their guns and they really can't do anything. So I digress. So I just wanted to paint the picture for you. So let's go back to the reason why I started this video, because I was thinking about how immigrants got this name. But these people are actually sovereign citizens who have diplomatic immunity, if you think about it. If they cause any crime here, they are to be, by law, they are they're not supposed to be held in a court or anything here, right? Because the court doesn't really have jurisdiction over these people. So they have to deport them back, okay, to their own country. Tell them, they can arrest them and everything here and put them on a plane or something and send them back home under arrest, all right? Then when they get to that country or whatever, the way this thing was set up, the immigration service or something would meet them and they're like, okay, come on, uh, we're going to have to hold you here. Here's the beauty part of what the guy who killed the CEO of United Health. That's a terrible thing, and I'm not trying to be flippant, but what they're doing now is the defense is trying to keep him from being sent back to New York, where his crime was committed. I might have this a little messed up, but the scenario is clear in my brain. So he's going to, his defense team said, don't, we don't want to be extradited back to New York, where the crime was committed. Here's the beauty of it. So if he stays here in Pennsylvania, he could only be charged with the crimes that he did in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania cannot charge him because they don't have jurisdiction over what happened in New York. It's a beautiful plan. It's a stroke of brilliance. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out there, young people, to give you a little insight in the court system, which you may not be involved in it now, but keep living. Keep living. Somewhere along the line, you're going to be involved in it. And I want to share my insight on that. If you get a lawyer, you're going to jail. Okay. Sometimes, if you get a public defender, and if they're really efficient and uh, just to keep it in common words, if they're good at what they do, their goal is to protect you from the criminal justice system, which is really there to punish you. There's no justice in it. It's just there for punishment. Okay? If you wonder why somebody can shoot somebody in the face on a camera and go to court and get those charges dropped, it's because they said something like, oh, I was in fear for my life. So basically what they're saying is they didn't intend to do that. In the higher law, the one that sent the Coast Guards and the National Guards into your city, that's actually a higher law that is doing that. Well, the higher law says, look it up. You cannot make this up. And I'm not telling you to do this because they got other ways of getting you. If you want to play that card, they got other ways of getting you. But man, I hate to say, they will. Oh, so when they do that and say that, that is they didn't intend to do it. They, the higher law says if there is no intent, you can look this up. If there is no intent, there is no crime. Okay. Okay. So this is why it seems like the criminal justice system is for the criminals and not the victims. So, as you live, young people, you're going to learn some of these things. It's a great and wonderful thing that you need to know. So, you don't have to be in fear going to court, even though it's a criminal justice system. They should take out the word justice because there is no justice. No justice, no peace. No racist police. Okay. Uh, Lady Justice, the one's got the blindfolds and she's holding the scale. Okay, that's what we're thinking. We're thinking justice when we go in there as regular people, but that's not exactly what they get. So this is why people can go to courts and get off of the charge because they're showing that there was no intent. But I'm telling you something. If you get away with that, if you do that, and if you get away with it, and if that guy who killed the CEO of that company, okay, he's oh, what a tangle web we weave. When first we practice to deceive, I'm telling you, he might get away with a little bit, but life, God is not mocked. Okay, so he's going to end up doing things like the January Sixers did after they got pardoned. So many of them ended up making another crime or committing another crime. So they might have been pardoned for the January 6th thing, but the way karma is, you're going to get your recompense. Recompense is a church word or a scripture word. Look it up, okay? And the young people just call it karma, but in the Bible, it's recompense. Uh, kind of think, young people, like you reap what you sow. Kind of look at it like that. Okay. Okay. Stefan. Okay. Um, so by you surviving the situation that you went through with your three thing, you are very precious. And in order for you to be chosen to work in the kingdom, one of the things that, for example, slave owners used to have this saying called buck breaking. Somebody who had a strong will, like, my name Kunta, and they strike you on your back with this whip, young man, and they will, because these people, they're just evil. The Bible says that God looked at some of the things that man does, and he found that they think wicked all the time. So the Spirit of the Lord will not always dwell with them, but each man and each woman shall live for 120 years. Look it up, it's in there. Okay? So I feel so bad for what happened to you because I have also had this type of three thing happen to me. And I never really had a chance to mourn. Okay? One of the one of the three that had this uh, life experience, because death is part of life. Stephen, he was the only funeral I cried at, and I literally mourned. Then uh, I actually had, when it hit me, I was asleep, and I just woke up crying, which was odd and disturbing because I was in the I was in a barracks kind of situation, and there were other people trying to sleep, so it was uncontrollable. So they had to call an ambulance to take me to the hospital because I just could not stop crying. That that one helped me mourn, but the other ones I never had a chance to mourn. I haven't had that big cry and let it go thing. Okay, I love black funerals, or whatever. And they got the choir, and the dad is sitting there because in the front row, and they sing these songs. Yeah, they sing these gospel songs or hymns or something, and you're sitting there trying to be strong, but your loved one, a part of you, is up there in a casket, and they have a way of singing these songs that will hit you, and you will break down and cry, young people. Yes, men do cry. And I don't want you to think that men only cry at funerals or because a young of a family member, died or something like that. There, but men should cry. It's You have to mourn. You can't hold it in. It's going to come out inappropriate. It's, you'll explode, or you'll crash out in a situation that really didn't call for you to crash out. But you crash out because you hold it in, young people. So, as you go, if something happens, try to mourn it now. And if you have that scenario where these things happen, try to get into your mourning right now. But because be of good cheer. Mourning may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning. That's what those types of scriptures are. Good. You got your mourning out of the way. And do it for the second person. Okay? That's how it works. So you don't have to, go through this and don't know what to do. All right? The Bible already tells us what to do. Hold on. I got a message popped in. It took my screen off. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to what started me on this thing. All right, so immigrants aren't the only one eating the dogs. I was watching this one video, and this immigrant went to this pond or something, and they had some swans or geese or something in there. My man just went in there and grabbed the geese by his neck, and guess what was supposed to be for dinner? Uh, Unfortunately for him, there was a Karen there. You know how they do. So he might not have been able to have that as a meal. So she just harassed him to all get up to where he actually let the thing go. So one of the reasons why immigrants do that, hold on, all these messages are popping up. I'm going to have to turn those notifications off. Good luck with that when I'm doing a live video. But one of the reasons why the immigrants do that is because they don't have jobs. They don't get food stamps. Don't let people fool you. They can't go to the hospital. Okay. Um, if they get sick and can't work, they die. There's no income for them. That's why it's beautiful that they live by a story I read in the Bible that said when there was a problem, let's look at it like a disaster or something. Each one took what they had and sold it so they can meet the needs of everybody. So I might have more of something that's probably more than I need. So We would take it and put it in a group or something, and then it would be enough for everybody. So that's what I like about the immigrants, which really are Americans. Okay, if you look where they're coming from, except for the ones that are coming from overseas, like Ghana, or what is the one that Trump is after now? What is that group that the Orange Man is after? I can't think of it, and I didn't write it down. So okay, okay. So Haitians or something like that. There. Yeah, so those are the immigrants. The ones that are coming from overseas are immigrants, and they're not eating the dogs. Okay. I saw a whistleblower once do a video. He went into a certain type of restaurant, and what he had done was he skinned the particular uh, animal that he thought, like the dogs, they're eating the dogs. Well, he had skinned a animal that he thought that this particular restaurant might be serving. Okay, and sometimes kids uh, miss school, so they might go to the restaurant and because nobody's home, so they have to go to the restaurant and wait for the parent to come back home. Um, so he um, took a picture of some of these things that he had skinned or whatever. I think they're called cadavers or something like that. There, but they didn't have any skin. So what he did was he had several pictures of several things. It didn't look like the animal. Okay, and he showed it to the little child. He, while he was waiting for his food or something. And when the little child recognized one of those pictures, he did an acknowledgement that it was something that he was seeing in that particular restaurant. And what the whistleblower decided to do was leave the restaurant immediately. He decided he wasn't going to eat there. So and these are things that you're going to see along your journey here, young people. Okay, so I saw a video of a whistleblower who went into a certain store, and sometimes the kid might not have went to school that day. So, being the adult, he made a simple test of the anatomy of different animals and showed it to the kid, who eyes lit up and smiled at the picture of something that was familiar. Example, me and my wife were on the bus. I'm not really sure why I use this example, but I wrote it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. Me and my wife were on the bus, in the front, no less. And these two guys came on and sat right in front of us. We were sitting in the seats facing the front. I know this isn't going to make any sense, but uh, I think this message is for somebody. Okay? You may not be able to make the connection of what I'm trying to say. Okay? Okay, so I was aware of I'm aware of the game called Three Card Molly, but apparently my wife wasn't. So she began to play it, and I didn't have the wherewithal to respond or react and tell her, "Don't do that." Okay, so I let her go ahead and play it, and it wasn't a problem until she asked me for $1. Now then it became a problem because back then, hey, a dollar is a dollar. So I wasn't willing to give her $1 to play that game because I knew wasn't any way for her to win it. So I had this bag of stuff that I was carrying, and in it, I had one of those muscle stress relieving things in it. I took it out right away, and I started doing like this and trying to relieve some of the stress that I was feeling in this situation. So there were two guys. One of them was older, and one of them was younger. And I think he kind of picked up what I was putting down there, and they decided to go ahead and get off the bus because I was fixing to tell the bus driver, "Hey, these guys are back here gambling." But one of the reasons why I didn't was because I saw the video of a guy who played the three card Molly on the street, and he lost a lot of money, and that pissed him off. So he kind of, watched them and figured out what was going on. And what he decided to do was warn other people who were coming and were getting sucked into this game. So the older guy at this street exhibit, he took the young man aside and he said to him, in a moment of clarity for that young man, he said, "Listen, if you expose someone's hustle, that is akin to killing them." So that's what happening. So that's what's happening with the immigrants. If they can't do their hustle, they can't make money. Okay. If they can't work on the fields, they can't make money. So they die. Okay. That's the immigrants from overseas, and it's also true of the immigrants that we have here in the United States from what we call South America, North America, Mexico. It's all America, young people. So I hope you made the connection. And that's pretty much all I have. I don't know what's going on with my. Oh, all right, there it is. Okay, all I had to do was move it. Okay, so again, um, I'm Stefan. I feel I'm so bad for your mourning situation if you haven't gotten over it yet. Okay, so remember, use the procedure, mourn overnight, because joy will come in the morning, sunset, and stuff like that. Okay, God bless you. Um, I wouldn't want to walk a mile in your shoes if you haven't gotten all that out yet. Okay, you may find that you're gonna self-medicate, drink, get high, or something like that there, and that's pretty much why you're doing it. I'm not a therapist, but you're either gonna self-medicate or okay, blah blah blah. You're an adult. You guys are young. Okay, who pays for their plane tickets? All right, who is that? Okay. Balls? Ball Street? Curbin Dito? Well, this is kind of going to stretch you a little bit, but we don't live on a globe. Okay? And if you go with the old map of the flat earth, you have to remember that the globe wasn't introduced into schools basically until our lifetime. They got the guy who made the model for the globe. He may still be alive. Okay. And he did a video on how he put together this globe. Because, nobody actually ever went outside the planet. They never went to the moon kind of thing and actually saw it. But especially the person who made the globe or who made the model of the globe. Okay. So, I mean, if you younger people may think that the globe has been in schools forever, it wasn't. We always had the flat map. Okay. So, who pays for their plane ticket? Nobody. Okay. When they get deported, we may pay for their plane ticket back, but you can literally walk for an example, you can literally walk. Sarah Palin said this when she was running for president. You guys might not be into politics, so you might not be aware of this story. But one of the things she was saying on her campaign trail was she could actually see Russia from her backyard. And one of the reasons why she probably wouldn't have walked is because it's really cold out there. And the snow and the ice uh, would prohibit you from walking from, I think Sarah Palin was from Alaska or something like that there. But just to give you an idea where you can walk from Alaska to Russia, it's all you have to do is get one of those skis and you could go over the snow and stuff and actually make it to Russia. There's no border that's big enough. There's no toll booth that you go through everywhere or along that border between Russia and Alaska, I believe, just for the sake of the story. So with global warming, that ice is melting. So it's getting a little warmer up there. So you can actually walk now from Russia to Alaska. So there was this lady. I guess she was trying to do a viral TikTok video or something, or go viral, YouTube video or something. So what she had did was she went down to our border wall, where the immigrants were supposed to be coming in at, or whatever. Not at the Mexico border crossing line or anything like that. There, she just went along the border, okay, and she waited for some people to walk past, and she asked a similar question as you did, Wall Street. And I don't think I'm pronouncing your name right, so I'm just going to shorten it. Welcome inside my brain. And then with my glasses and this little screen, it's kind of hindering me from pulling up your name bigly. Okay, so um, she saw, a pack of them or something. She literally asked them, "Hey, how did you get here?" Uh, and she asked them the same thing: "Who paid for your plane ticket?" And they looked confused because they hadn't caught a plane. Okay, there was a little language thing, but these guys that she approached understood a little bit of English. They understood English enough to communicate with her. So they said, "Plane? We we didn't catch a plane. We walked." So she asked them, "Well, where are you from? Where did you walk from?" You can't make this up. They said one said he was from Pakistan. One said he was from, as another one walked up while she's trying to interview this guy. She asked him, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Afghanistan or something." So she asked three or four of them, "How did you get here? Who paid for your plane ticket?" Well, nobody actually paid for their plane ticket, young man. They walked. So one of the things that they don't want us to know is that we can actually walk from continent to continent. But they have us concentrating on the globe for whatever reason. It's a deceitful model. I don't know why. So the globe that we have, it would look like you can't walk from continent to continent. You would think that you would have to catch a plane. So, one of the things that you are going to experience, young people, say you want to go overseas from the United States. So, all the planes, anywhere from the United States, whether it's California or the East Coast, you have to fly to Spain or something, which is really stupid because you have to go all the way north and do your passport thing or whatever just for you to go south into, for example, the Great Motherland, which really doesn't make any sense because on the map, it's a shorter trip if you just fly straight from the East Coast straight to Africa. But in order for them to perpetrate the globe model, they put you in a flight pattern where you have to go to Spain or something and have a layover. And in theory, they're having everybody who's coming from the United States or so in any other place on the West, they have them all meet here in the North and go south. It's the dumbest thing, but they're perpetrating or they're deceiving us by thinking we have to go north to cross the river and go north of the river. You guys aren't adults. You'll figure that out. So I hope that answered your question, Wall Street. All right. If he's facing extradition, only the governor of Pennsylvania can keep him from being extradited back to New York. Yeah, you're right. But the beauty of that is if he can have his trial here in Pennsylvania, he can only be charged with the crimes he committed in Pennsylvania. He can't be charged with the crime he committed in New York. They have to extradite him from Pennsylvania so that he could stand charges in New York. So that's what his defense is trying to do now. They're trying to get him to stay here in Pennsylvania and face the charges that he has in Pennsylvania that do not include murder. It's a wonderful strategy. I hope it works for his sake because it's a terrible thing to do that to somebody. But his his defense team came up with a brilliant strategy. So we'll see what the judge says or the governor. So the governor can, the governor does have the power to uh, keep him from being extradited, but the courts also have that authority. So the courts and the governor, it's two different authorities. Okay, I hope that helps. All right, Michael Harris. All right, good strong name there. Donald Trump for life. Now let me tell you something. Some people just rub you the wrong way. If it's natural, when you come across him, if he rubs you the wrong way, all right. There's a story in the Bible about either two cousins or a niece and an aunt. They were both pregnant. Now back then, you'd had to walk in the heat to go visit. So they were both pregnant. And when they came together, doing the hug and stuff like that the babies in their womb, it's a Bible story. The babies in their wombs began to jump. Kind of look at it like a pregnant woman. If you look at her stomach and you can see the baby kicking, it's the most beautiful thing. It's an amazing thing to see that baby kicking in a mother's womb. But I want to make the connection with this particular experience with Donald Trump. With all his garbage, with all his baggage, it's not any worse than the baggage that, let's say, Moses had, or the baggage that David had. Okay? And I'm not trying to compare him to Moses or David or anything, but these are stories that you may be aware of. Okay, so uh, whether you like him or not, what he's doing, if you know another story or if you know about a prophecy, this particular one says that in the last days, the people will be given over to a strong delusion. And he is part of that strong delusion. Love him or hate him, he's helping fulfill that prophecy. It could have been anybody. You could have been you participating in the fulfillment of this prophecy that was written, let's just say 2,500 years ago, for the sake of on this example. I could probably ask Google what was that prophecy, but you can look it up. Ask Google, what is that prophecy that says in the last days the people will be turned over to a strong delusion? And since you young people have higher IQs than I did when I was your age, you'll be able to make the connection. So I personally am not concerned with what Donald Trump, the Orange Man, is doing because it doesn't have anything to do with my purpose. All right. It's just I'm participating in a great and wonderful thing that I need to know, and it's being shown to me through the Orange Man and what he's doing. That's all. Love him or hate him, he's participating in that last day um, prophecy. And so are you. You're just not participating in it as the president. Okay, that's all. Oh, full stop on that. I saw a video. I think it was a TikTok video or something because I was scrolling. Actually, it was on Twitter, and Elon Musk um, asked. He had a picture of Obama in the Oval Office, and Obama is holding a sign that says, "Do you want me back?" And I think it was phrased in the third person. Okay. And I want to make this connection because Obama did 2 terms and he was not trying to affect changes where he could go for a third term, which the Orange Man may be considering. It's against the law for him to go for a third term. It's written in the Constitution or somewhere that you can only be a 2 term president. So it would be a uh, president if he got a third term. And this means that anybody who comes after him, they could say, hey, look, I could run for a third term. The Orange Man did it. Okay. So it's kind of, it's really serious if they let him do that because now anybody else who comes after him after their 2 terms, they can use what he did to qualify them to be a third term. Kind of look at it like this: the guys overseas who are dictators and everything, they just stay in power forever. There's no 2 term limits. There's no anything. They just did a coup and now they're the president and they're going to stay the president as long as they have the might and power to do it. I learned from a guy named Kahan Tazadaq, Kahantazaqd. I think I spelled that right. Taqz, Kahan Tazadaq. He said that when you go to court, this is a republic if you can keep it. He was using that as an example to encourage people when you go to court. He wants you to remember that phrase that we all say or took an oath to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So he kind of surmised it when you go into court, it's a republic that you are representing. You are not a defendant or a pro se like the summons says. The summons is giving you that status. Remember, two things have to happen by law when you go into court. You have to establish your sovereignty, or you have to establish your status before the court. But what the court does is they subjugate you and get you to come into the court as a defendant. So what they're doing is keeping you from coming in as a sovereign. They are automatically making your status before the court, which is going to be established if you go in as a defendant. I had a judge tell me one day, he said, I'm not a court person, but the situation that I'm in has been going on for almost a year or two, and I'm learning these things as I go. Do you know that there are innocent people? There are literally innocent people in jail. You hear about it all the time. Somebody gets released from jail because some kind of evidence came out that they were innocent. They've been in jail for 30 or 40 years, or even 30 or 40 days. It doesn't make any difference how long they were in there, but they were convicted of a crime that they didn't commit. Remember, the higher law says if there is no intent, there is no crime. Now that's justice. Okay? Not what our courts do. They give you these criminal charges and stuff. That's punishment. That's not justice. So I didn't know that. But I kept learning, kept listening to the Kahan Tazadaq until one day that little light went off. So now I'm actually able to stand on my own. I don't need a public defender. I don't need a lawyer. Because when I'm going in now, it's called, they send you the offer or an appeal or the summons, I'm sorry. They send you the summons. That's an offer. You respond to that offer when you show up. You want to have it on the record in your files or whatever that you agree to come, but you are making a special appearance. You are not appearing generally. If you are appearing generally, then that means you are appearing to that summons as a defendant or as pro se. They have jurisdiction over that. They do not have jurisdiction over you if you say you are making a special appearance. You have to say it. Okay? That lets the courts know that, oh, wait a minute, this is going to be interesting. Okay? And you also have to say, I want to, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but hey, listen, I want to be a friend of the court and help you set off, settle, and discharge this debt. That's one thing. Now everybody's sitting up because you said something different than what your public defender can say or will say. Okay? So now you got their attention. Now they understand that, hey, this one is a little bit different. He picked up what somebody was putting down. Okay? So you have to say those two things. I am here to, I want to see the verified signed claim signed under the penalty of perjury. So somebody who is complaining or something about you, you may notice that whatever the complaint is or the charge is not signed by anybody. So you want to see a verified signed claim signed under the penalty of perjury. that you can get a remedy for. That's what that, in a nutshell, is I'm saying. So if you're setting off, settling, and discharging the debt or the charge, that's where these things come together. Now you're telling the court, I'm not a pro se, I'm not a defendant, I'm a sovereign. If you are a sovereign, that means just like the people who are coming from other places, they are a sovereign. They are the representative of where they're coming from. You know, Mexico doesn't want to have people in the United States selling barbiturates and stuff like that. There, it's an old name because that person is representing Mexico. So you don't want to have that kind of person, representing you. Okay. So when you go into a court, you are a sovereign and you don't need a lawyer or a public defender to represent you. Get it? You represent your sovereign. You represent America whenever you go into court. Okay? The prosecutor, see what I did there? Is representing the state, who you cannot call to show you their verified signed claim. Okay? I called the state to the stand because you have a right as a sovereign to talk to your accuser. All right? So this is what a sovereign can do. But of course, the state will kind of make you look kooky, and they're like, "Well, the state can't come to the stand." But that pro se representative, the prosecutor can, and he ain't trying to get up there. Okay, so these are things that the court doesn't want you to know. Anytime you see a young black man who been sucker punched by a police officer, dragged out of the car and handcuffed and stuff like that, there. Oh boy. And we get this big melanated lawyer guy. We used to have the we used to have a guy who would do that. He was with Jesse Jackson and Martin Luther King. Okay, so those guys come into your case when something like that happens, and he is going to present you to the court as a sovereign, not as a victim or a plaintiff. He's going to look at you and try to present you to the court like, hey, this cop didn't have any reason to do that because he is beating up an American citizen. You are an American citizen. You are a sovereign. Okay? So he may represent that young man because he doesn't have the wherewithal to tell the court or prove to the court his status. Those are two things by law that has to be established on the record. Two things. What is your status? The Kahan Tazadak says it like this. The reason why people are going to jail is because they don't know who they are. That's all. You go in there with these lawyers and stuff, and they're not representing you as a sovereign. They're representing you as a defendant or as a pro se litigant. That's all. So chances are pretty good with that type of representing of you, you're going to lose. All right, because they're going to have a trial. And having a trial is just like going to Las Vegas. The dealer always wins. And if you do go to Las Vegas and if you do a lot of winning, you're going to be banned from that casino. Okay, so courts aren't designed for you to win. Courts are like a casino. Um, I look at that. I look at court like racketeering. So learn some of these terms until that little light goes off in your head. Okay. Are there any more questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Could you do me a favor? Can you subscribe to my channel? I want to get 1,000 subscribers so that YouTube will allow me to move into a different category where I can make a couple dollars from doing my videos. But they won't allow you to do that, make money off your videos, unless you have 1,000 subscribers. And I will help you by becoming one of your subscribers and on your journey to getting 1,000 subscribers. Okay, so it doesn't really cost you anything. All you do is click the subscribe button, and then whenever I go live or whatever, you don't have to come and listen to it. Okay, but I wish you would listen to it because if you don't listen to it, I'm preaching to the choir. Hallelujah. So may the Lord add a blessing to the hearing of this word. May he decide between me and thee. And these things I ask. If you pray and if you don't get it answered, well, this is one of the reasons why. It tells you right in the Bible. When you pray amiss. And the way you pray correctly is anything you ask of the Father, if you ask him in his Son's name, the one that got hung to a tree and died for your sin, or you being a sinner or running into some type of sinning situation, and if you accept what he did for you, then you can experience and go through and get out of your sin because you accepted what he did. That's the only way out of sin. You have to say these words. I believe that you died for my sins. Okay, even though you weren't living back then. But whenever you come along as a sinner, and you could say this prayer. I believe that you died on the cross for my sins, and on the third day rose again. Oh, rose again. All right. If you say that and get baptized, if you will acknowledge me before men on earth, I will acknowledge you before the Father. And I got to tell you, nothing is more exciting than to know that somebody, the Holy Spirit and the Son of God, is trying to make what you are going through. They're trying to keep God from getting upset with you. They're trying to smooth it over for you. Okay, you're asking these crazy prayers like, "Hey, I want to hit the lottery or stuff or something." Well, I pray my number hits. That's not the kind of prayer that get answered. So that's why they say the chances of winning the lottery is a gazillion to one. But I digress. So say that prayer, get baptized. This is how you get called. All right, many are called. Everybody who does that is now called, but few are chosen. Okay, and the way you get chosen, kind of like an example, is how Moses got chosen, how David got chosen, how Abraham got chosen. They were all called before that. I know Abraham got called because his wife heard him talking to these three men, which were really angels, and those angels knew that uh, his wife wanted to get pregnant. Like, she was too old, or had her tubes tied, or something like that. There, so she was thinking, um, "Oh, I'm never going to have any kids." Okay, so she overheard the angels unaware. Those three guys were really angels. Uh, Abraham was attending angels unaware. He didn't know they were angels, but back then when they when somebody came across your tent or something, you gave them whatever you had to help them out. Give them some water, wash their feet, before they come in. I'm telling you, if you look at some people's feet, you'd be like, "Oh Lord." Anyway, I digress. Um, so she heard those angels tell Abraham that, "Hey, look, we're going to come back next year, and your wife Sarah is going to be pregnant." So she either heard it telepathically. I'm pretty sure they weren't talking louder than a conversational tone. So the two shall become one flesh. So she was picking up what Abraham was receiving from these guys. Kind of look at it like that, or from these angels, or actually one of them was probably either the Holy Spirit or the Son of God. Okay, and the third one was probably uh, Michael or Gabriel or one of them guys with the swords. He was the what do you call those guys? Bodyguard. Okay, so she heard that the angels weren't really talking to her, and she wasn't snooping or anything. She was in there trying to cook something to feed these guys. So uh, because back then that's what you would do if somebody came across your tent out there in the wilderness. You had to take care of them because there was no place for them to go to the store. So um, I digress. I think I have a sense of humor. So what they did was heard her response. It had to be telepathically because she wasn't talking to them, but she was getting ready to get her prayer answered. She wanted to get pregnant. It was a thing back then to get pregnant, and your son would take care of you after your husband died. Okay. I mean, it would be nice to, have some girls, but the way it was set up then was the son would take care of the mother. Okay. So she hadn't had that yet. And the angels said this to Abraham, and she heard it, and I believe she caught it. You know, Sometimes you just understand or know what people are talking about. You don't have to be in the conversation, you overhear it or something like that. So they said, well, next year about this time, you're going to be pregnant. So her response, without missing a beat, because if you are married long enough, you tend to answer each other's sentences. Kind of look at it like that. You know what the other people, what your mate is thinking, so you can kind of answer their whatever they're saying. You could kind of communicate it better. Blah blah blah. I digress. So she thought, well, will I in my old age know pleasure? Because a lot of times you know when you get older and if you can't have kids, the man kind of loses interest in you because the man wants to have kids. With it, we're just it's just in us. Okay, so we'll go as far as having sex with anyone. I mean that's not the idea, young people, because you can kind of pleasure yourself. Because she said, "Will I, in my old age, know pleasure?" She kind of skipped over that the angel said she's going to have a baby. She was like, "Oh man," she thought about the pleasure right away. Okay. So anyway, you have a lot to learn. You're going to love this journey. Stay on the narrow road. That's where some of these lessons are, okay? Not the road to the valley of shadow of death. Get out of that. Broad is the road to destruction, but narrow is the road to salvation. And few of you find it. If you're listening to me, you're one of those few that is going to uh, find that narrow road. Okay? So that's it. I'm not getting any more questions. And I just want you again to like and subscribe, like, or I don't know. It's a script that people say, but my goal is to get you to subscribe to my channel, so I can keep getting people to subscribe to my channel, so I can get 1,000 subscribers. And what I'll do is, if I get 1,000 subscribers, I will subscribe to those 1,000 people's channels as well to help them get their 1,000 subscribers. Okay, love ya.